Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com here at the DevOps Enterprise Summit. And I'm joined by actually a friend of mine, Mustafa Kapadia. Mustafa, welcome.
Thank you, Alan. It's good to be here.
So Mustafa, in addition to writing for DevOps.com occasionally, you are
I try.
You try, need more, but you are also a key contributor to the IBM Global Services DevOps team.
Yes.
And you're here observing the DevOps Enterprise Service Summit. This is the second time. Were you here last year as well?
No, unfortunately, this is my first time.
Oh, this is your first time.
I missed the last time, but it's a great conference. I think Gene does a really good job of putting it together. Great speakers, great panelists.
So Mustafa, you and I, as I said, friendly, we know each other. You've been to plenty of other DevOps conferences. What do you think sets this one apart?
You know, that's a really good question. Actually, what I like about this is, if you think about it, I think of this conference as the mother of all DevOps conference, right?
Okay.
Part of it is because it's backed by Gene, and he's had the pedigree of doing these conferences over time. But it's not just that, but it's also the pedigree of speakers that you have in the conference. Mm-hmm. You know, you have people from Chef, you have people from Docker coming in and talking about all these things, and these are truly big thinkers of the DevOps industry, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the conferences we go to is the same dribble again and again, just packaged differently. Here you actually get some new ideas to hopefully knock some cobwebs out of your head.
So. Yeah. So what cobwebs have we knocked out of your head so far this week, Mustafa?
That's a great one. You know, the keynote speaker yesterday was an excellent. You know, we here based in Silicon Valley, the whole philosophy is go faster, right? Mm-hmm. And part of the philosophy is shoot first, ask questions later, right? I mean, that's how the Googles and the Facebooks of the world started. But Stephen made us pause and say, you know what, it's really about, you got to first ask the question about what you're going to expect from this event or from this action, and then figure out if you actually met that expectation or not, and then move at that speed. And the benefit of that is that you're actually now embedding learning into your process, as opposed to just saying, well, let me just try doing a whole bunch of other things, and I'll figure out the way later. So I think that's a good mindset.
Stephen, you're talking about Dr. Stephen Spear?
That is correct. Right. Sorry,
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure our viewers know, because they could probably go look up Dr. Stephen Spear's keynote from
you should read his book. His book is excellent.
Yes.
So.
And really what that comes to, though, is, it's about having repeatable processes.
Yes.
And when you're shooting from the hip and just doing stuff.
Yeah, the one-offs never work. Right? I mean, if anything we've learned from DevOps.
Everyone, even the blind squirrel catches a nut once in a while. So every once in a while they'll work. The question is, can you repeat it?
Yes.
And that's difficult.
It's very hard to do.
If not impossible.
And the discipline to continue doing that, right? That's the other pieces, and we found that out in IBM too. We have a few successes, and now suddenly everybody wants to take it to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But the message is keep it short, keep it simple, and keep it the same.
And build on the knowledge gained the hard way incrementally.
Right. I agree.
Yep. So, Mustafa, you brought up lessons learned at IBM. IBM has actually been through their own sort of DevOps transformation.
Yes. We started our DevOps transformation with it before it was even called DevOps. Internally we did a heavy investment in Agile probably around 2002. And we found out after making all these investments that we were going really fast for one small piece, but not for the entire value chain. So, you would develop this code really fast in 2-week sprints, but then the customer wouldn't get it till 6 months from now. So what's the point of going fast, right? It's like getting ready for the prom, but then waiting by the door for 6 hours.
All dressed up with nowhere to go.
All dressed up and nowhere to go. And hopefully you'll have a date coming in soon. Mm-hmm. And so we tried different things, right? And what we found out probably about 5 years ago is when we got really, maybe it's more than that. We got smart and we started saying, well, let's figure out what is really slowing us down. And what we found out is that Agile, we found about 7 things that were slowing us down. Agile was on the bottom of that list. So we were actually optimizing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Right?
And it happens.
And then we said, oh, wait a minute, what's going on? And we ended up, then we started saying, okay, we need to start moving from infrastructure as code. started using automated deployment, which is actually what led to our acquisition of Urban Code. Right? It was actually our internal churn that said, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way. And we went through a whole bunch of lists, and we finally said, okay, Agile now finally fits in for us to make that transformation.
Yes.
So understanding that layout is key, right?
Absolutely.
We made a lot of mistakes. So.
But that's, again, the way to learn.
That's the way to
learn.
learn.
Learn from
right.
your mistakes.
Yeah.
Mustafa, last question. You've been in DevOps now a while. You've been to shows and this show. What do you see as the future?
You know, that's a very interesting conversation. DevOps is where we were probably with Agile transformation when Agile took off. And at that time, Agile was all about, it's going to change and revolutionize IT. And it never happened, right? I think DevOps is at that point in time now. I think there's a lot of momentum behind it, so maybe the timing is right, especially because now we actually have, there's a premium in the boardroom for speed. There never was a premium in 2000 in the boardroom for speed. It was always about cost cutting.
Yeah.
So I think now we actually might have all the stars aligned to actually do a true DevOps, Agile, continuous delivery, whatever buzzword you want to use.
But the
I think
new
we
way,
actually have
the
a
new
better
way
way.
things get done.
Yeah.
That's actually, we're changing our tagline.
Is that right?
At DevOps.com, it was where the world meets DevOps, but I think we're changing it to, we need to wordsmith it, but it's something along the line of DevOps.com, or DevOps, the new way things get done. The new way
I think it's very appropriate, and more importantly, it's what the competition is doing.
Yeah.
Right. Well, not for you guys. You guys rule the world.
Yeah, we rule the DevOps media
But for
world,
our clients, it is how. If the competition is 25% faster, you have no choice but to go 30% faster.
Or die.
Or die, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the big banks are finding it out, or that's how Blockbuster found out about Netflix.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to be in that situation.
No, you don't want to be Blockbuster.
Right. So.
Anyway, okay, Mustafa Kapadia, thank you for joining us
Thank
today.
you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the rest of DevOps Enterprise Summit. This is Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com.
Thank you for having me, Alan.